people are bound to know about me anyway. Let's go ahead. Okay, so can all of you hear, or is there a problem with anybody? Okay, doesn't matter. Let us start. Akshay, you should keep your mic open because I'll have to get some feedback from you.
Okay.
Okay. So we are looking at what is called industrial applications. This name is little confusing in the sense what I shall be talking about is actually how industrial applications enter into HPC MDO framework. So this is what it is, and I'll be talking about industrial applications from that perspective. So the contents of this talk are the following. We shall talk about India products and what we call as coupled math models. Then how to simulate those coupled math models, we'll classify them. In one of the strategy called interdisciplinary math models, how to solve them. There is one more class of math model called multidisciplinary models, math models. How to solve them, that also we shall see. Then we are introducing a concept called module or many times called as a component, and how these components and modules are different than what we call as solvers, which you are familiar with. Then we'll introduce one concept called a design structure matrix. We'll have a look at what it is. Then we'll have a look at a design structure matrix for one problem or two problems, depending on the time that's available. And basically, design structure matrix is what is called, a matrix of doing multidisciplinary optimization through some hierarchy. So, how to sequence this hierarchy is what we shall actually talk for 5-10 minutes. As an example, we shall look at how a parachute gets analyzed or a railgun gets analyzed. The physics is not important, the results are not important, but how multidisciplinary analysis is done is what is important through design structure matrix. Anyway, so let us look at the way things are and the way I would like, in fact, you would be appreciating it the way it is put in. So, traditionally, designing complex products such as aircraft, ships, missiles, oil rigs, tanks, etc., require fabricating, testing, or even destroying scaled physical models. Though I have not written it, what I mean by physical models. What I mean by models is physical models. If you make these physical models, they would be time consuming and expensive, obviously, and they can be dangerous. For example, you're talking about making a missile or you're making a spacecraft, which may not be even feasible. How will you test it? And it's not easy. So, what is the way out? Way out is building and analyzing mathematical models, which with many times the current terminology is digital twin, is a far better option. So, actually, we build the models, not the physical models, but math models. And these math models is what we solve on high performance computers. And if you can do that and optimize these math models, then your product that you're looking at also gets optimized. The basic question that this slide talks about is what could be the general strategy to solve these complex models? Can we lay down some general strategy and say that this is the way that all engineering products in future will get simulated or will be made or they would be tested? So this is what the job is, okay? Anyway, so as I said, we are not going to look at physical models, but we are looking at math models. Now, math models can be solved by, there are three types of math models. Depending on those types, there are three strategies for their solution. What you have been studying in engineering colleges or science colleges is what is called as intradisciplinary models. They require analysis of only one isolated discipline, and hopefully you are an expert in that discipline. So you end up, for example, writing down a code for Navier-Stokes equation, which we call as CFD, or you end up writing a code for electromagnetics, which is called computational electromagnetics or CEM, or you may be in operational research and you will write a code for traveling salesman problem. But each of this is basically a discipline of its own. It is not a problem solving like making an aircraft or making a missile. So it is basically disciplinary and it's interdisciplinary. Only one discipline takes part. Then we can have what is called as interdisciplinary. These codes or these programs or these math models, they involve more than one discipline at one given time. In fact, it is only one more than one discipline at a time. An analysis requires a specially crafted tool for an expert involved in the discipline. So this is one notch higher complex compared to interdisciplinary method. What is the example? What are the examples? Examples are computational combustion. So supposing I want to study what happens to gaseous combustion, let's say in IC engine, it cannot be done by only one discipline. It will have to be multidisciplinary, but typically it's called as interdisciplinary because of the definition I have given. So it will involve fluid dynamics, it will involve heat transfer, it will also involve chemistry. The other example could be fluid structures interaction, which will involve fluid dynamics plus structural dynamics, etc. Many examples can be given, but idea is you write one program which solves the involved disciplines in one go. They are not separate modules, they are not separate executable. There is only one executable, and the tool which is appreciated by the expert in the discipline. There could be the third kind of category, which is called multidisciplinary, and this is different. And what is this? This requires analysis of several disciplines, not two or three. The numbers could be variable, and these solutions are attempted not by expert in the field. It is not that CFD will be used by a CFD expert. It will be CFD software will be used by somebody who is making a design of an aircraft, for example. So we are looking at making the tools which are to be used not by the field experts but the designers who don't understand much of CFD or FEM or whatever those algorithms are. Idea is it is meant for those who actually will be designing and analyzing the products, not work in the fields. Okay. So having said this, let us go to what are the algorithms? What are the algorithms for solving these intradisciplinary or multidisciplinary math models? We already know intradisciplinary completely. Interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary uh, math models are required to be simulated. So what are the methods? One of the method could be very simple. Let us have a look at it and see if we appreciate it. I may want to write down a single numerical algorithm for solving coupled math model in the entire domain. See, remember this is a fictitious algorithm that I am talking about. Don't be in a hurry to come to conclusion. They may not exist such an algorithm, but let us consider and see if it can be done. So take for example large eddy simulation produces flow field as well as acoustic field. Today you must have had a lecture on acoustics, noise that the fluid makes. How to solve the problem? If you want to solve the problem, you will have to actually solve it as a fluid mechanics problem plus acoustics problem. And you have a method called LES or large eddy simulation. So one simulation takes care of two fields. This is a typical of what is called as the interdisciplinary math models. Let us have a look at another example. Supposing I want to solve a problem of fluid mechanics and solid mechanics. You may not have written the equation which is shown here, but this equation that is written here in this slide is valid for both solids and fluids. It is rarely solved the way it exists or the way it is written here at this place. But if you can solve it, in principle, we will have solved the problem of solution of what is called a fluid structures interaction. It will solve the problem of fluid mechanics as well as solid mechanics. Then why it is not that we solve such a problem, let us say in colleges, or why is it not that there are no algorithms for the solution of this equation? There are difficulties. Difficulty number one, the fluid mechanics solvers, you must have known in your college days that they use equations which are what are called as Eulerian equations. They are written in the frame of reference where infinitesimal elements are fixed in space. While again you must have heard that solid mechanics solvers are written, or solid mechanics equations are written in Lagrangian frame of reference. That means the elements are held fixed, and the elements are actually they contain the same solid material. So there are two different philosophies. In one case you get the properties which are bound to the space, while in another case you get the properties which are bound to the material. So equations may be correct, but you do not know how to take care of the results that come out of such a set of equations. So what do we do in to circumvent the issue? We may use the algorithms, we may use the numerical algorithm, or we may write down the equations which are written in the same frame of reference. For example, we may use less traditional Lagrangian CFD method called smooth particle hydrodynamics, which actually is a method where fluid mechanics is described in not in Eulerian frame of reference but Lagrangian frame of reference. If you do this, then it so happens the traditional solid mechanics method anyway is in Lagrangian frame of reference, and the fluid mechanics method algorithm, the code that we are looking at, or the math model that we are looking at, is also in Lagrangian frame of reference. So you now have a possibility of solving fluids and solids together. But even then there is an issue. Even this doesn't take us anywhere. Reason is the following. There is another difficulty, and the difficulty is the following. If you solve a fluid mechanics problem, you know that you need to go to a level of resolving very small eddies. You need to go to micron level in space. That is where the boundary layers are when the Reynolds number is very high. And without boundary layer analyzing or resolving boundary layer, the fluid flow has no meaning. But we don't need solid mechanics with the scales which is in microns. The traditional solid mechanics codes that we use, they are in millimeters or many times in centimeters. The scales are therefore those so separate, so different, that if I want to use the same, even smooth particle hydrodynamics, I'll end up making a very complex solid mechanics solver, and it will be time consuming and very costly. Okay, similar such problems are encountered in computational combustion, where the temporal scales of chemical reactions are very small compared to scales of the flow. So those what is called as non-partition methods are not going to take us anywhere because they have their own problems and they have their own difficulties. So interdisciplinary method, which is based on what is called a non-partition method, cannot be used. So we can talk about, if possible, what are called the partition method. And what is this method? In a partition method, you apply equations of motion of solid in whatever frame of reference they are described, and you apply methods of CFD in the domain wherever there is a fluid. So there is a separate partition for fluid and there is a separate domain for solids. And you solve the equations wherever there exists a fluid, you use CFD. Wherever there is a solid, use FEM. And at the boundary, which is what is called as a wetted surface, that is where the fluid domain and the solid domain meet each other, you let them, you generate the boundary conditions which are for solid mechanics as well as fluid mechanics. So the way it can be talked about is the following. The partition method solves the fluid mechanics math model in partition occupied by the fluid, and solves the fluid mechanics problem in fluid mechanics math model in partition occupied by solid. Okay. Now scales in each partition can be different as required by the corresponding physics, and they will not affect the numerical stability or the computational time of each other. CFD solver in fluid mechanics takes the displacement and the velocity of the wetted surface as the input and provides pressure and shear stresses as the output. While FEM solver in solid partition takes the pressure and the shear stresses as the input to produce the displacement of the velocity of the wetted surface. Okay. In short, this method solves different equations in different domains, but couples the solution at the interface of the partition. So this is a possibility, and partition methods are utilized, for example, in aeroelasticity and some other methods, but it is limited only to one or two handful of problems, not too many problems. What we need is a general method where multiple math models can be solved together. So how do we do this? And what are, anyway, even before this, Mr. Akshay, am I audible and you are able to hear me?
Yes, yes,
Is it okay?
yes,
Pace of talking is fine. Pace of talking is okay.
yes.
Okay. So even before we go to the third model, we shall see the difficulties in what is called as interdisciplinary math model. One of the difficulty is the software based on partition methodology. For example, let's say in Aerosity or non-partition method called in, let's say, in combustion are first of all very rarely available. So you may want to do it, but I'm sure how many of you ever used the method in computational combustion or a software in Aeroelasticity. Forget about writing a code. You may not even have seen it operational on anybody's desktop. The difficulty number two is the following. The methods, partition methods require expertise in more than one discipline, and this could be a very rare skill. See, look at it this way. You may be good in fluid mechanics, but now I am insisting that you also must be good in solid mechanics. So the skill that is required out of you becomes much more rare. It's not a question of having a software, it's a question of ability to run the softwares and also understand the physics behind the software, which is not easy. Not only that, I'm not looking at only two math models. When the number of disciplines is very large, more than two, you can imagine the kind of complexity that will have. How many softwares will you learn at one go? How many fields that you will become an expert at? So this is not likely to happen. It is worth talking about. I'll solve problems from solid mechanics and fluid mechanics together. But if the number of disciplines is far more than two, you will have to find out some other means of doing the simulations. And such methodology is called as a multidisciplinary analysis. This is the most suitable and the most general solution strategy for the solution of coupled math models, which are many in number. What is done in MDA is, it is not a question of just the solver. In MDA, we come up with what is called as a module. And what is a module? It is not this is the solver, but setting up of the solver, monitoring it, post processing it, whatever that is required, all that is automated by the person who has written the codes. And it should be so easy for the non-experts to run it, that he need not know anything in numerical algorithm of the math models that are involved. For example, I do not know how many of you run it, but for example, if you run a CFD algorithm or CFD software, you need to give boundary condition, and you will say subsonic boundary, supersonic boundary, in viscous boundary, and all such boundary conditions are given. Just hold on for a minute, okay? Just hold on 1 minute. I'm sorry, I'm back. Okay. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. So in a multidisciplinary analysis, what is done is each each solver, each software is made is further improved, and setting up of boundary conditions, setting up of iterations, setting up, let's say, turbulence models or material, most of it, so much of automation is brought in that it should be easy for a non-expert to run such a solver. Okay. In MDA, that is multidisciplinary analysis, the math models will have interfaces for importing and exporting data with all other disciplines. Like, I'll give one more example, and let us see. Supposing that I'm running a solid mechanics problem. Okay, and supposing I use some software which is available commercially. It lasts for Young's modulus, it lasts for Poisson's ratio, it lasts for all such things, yield stress, it lasts for ultimate stress. If it is a solver in a multidisciplinary analysis, then all you need to do is give the material, let us say it is Ian steel so and so, and that's it. Everything is understood. Or if it is, say, flow of an aircraft, all that you need to do is put the aircraft, and that's it. You say aircraft is flying at such and such altitude at such and such angle of attack. Boundary conditions will automatically be taken care of. So we go one more step extra to make sure that the person who is running this solver or this software is not required to not required to know anything about setting up of the solver, post processing, conversions, all such issues are supposed to be taken care of. Okay. So in MDA, the solver and math models will have interfaces for importing and exporting data with all other disciplines of math models. So this is one more thing that happens is it is not just the solvers alone, individual solvers alone, but supposing I am connecting the solid mechanics solver to fluid mechanics solver, then the pressure that is generated by the solid mechanics solver, fluid mechanics solver will get automatically transferred to the solid mechanics solver. And the displacement that the solid produces will automatically change the computational domain of the the fluid mechanics solver. So such things are sort of built into the solvers which go into multidisciplinary analysis. Okay. So this is part one. Second, a framework is developed for the solution of coupled math models where the required solvers need not be on a single computer or even at one physical location. So this is one more very big thing that is normally done. It is not that if you want to run a fluid mechanics and a solid mechanics solver on your desktop, it is not required. We'll have a framework where solid mechanics solver, for example, could be on my desktop, but the fluid mechanics solver could be on somebody else's desktop. This is so because I may want to run them simultaneously and I may not have adequate computing power right in front of me. Okay. Not only that, such solvers will automatically come on which are made to be work on high performance computers. Now, if such conditions are satisfied, the solvers for a single math model are called as the modules, or many times they are called as components. So, modules are the solvers with all such features which are built into them. Okay, and the modules make the building blocks of multidisciplinary analysis. In multidisciplinary analysis, the modules are treated like black boxes while linking and executing them. So we actually will not talk about boundary conditions, convergence history, post processing. It's all part of it is all done. It is taken care of automatically. Now, having said this, is the designer supposed to do anything, or everything is automatic even in the next level? No, it is not. What the designer does is what is written here on this slide. The central problem in multidisciplinary analysis is organize the modules to reduce the utilization of computing resources, data transfer, and computing time. This is all that we are supposed to do. And this is what the designer normally does. He may also link one more module which is called as an optimizer, so that analysis is not done once but it is done several times to locate the optima, or what is called as optimal design, which is what the theme of this workshop is, or the course is. Okay, having said this, as I told you, modules are supposed to be more than executables of a solver. What are the other kinds of things are there, other kind of modules are there? So here, in a multidisciplinary analysis, the modules could be of different types. Let us have a look at it. They can be expressions. Any expression is fine. They can be implicit functions. They can be for vectors, scalars, or anything else, even tensors. They can be with or without constraints. The modules could be softwares capable of solving ODEs, ordinary differential equations, or they can be solvers solving partial differential equation arising of modeling of physics or even operations. They can be empirical data or experimental data. They can be results from analytical methods. They can be tools of analytics like artificial intelligence, machine learning with appropriate data sets. They can be raw data, or they can be even neighborhood information with or without uncertainty specification. So modules are not necessarily solvers in our case. When we talk about multidisciplinary analysis, they can belong to any one of this. Okay. So in short, what I told you is being talked about here again. A module, many times called as a component, is a generic executable for solution of uncoupled problem. It is set up and run by an expert using problem specific inputs or the inputs from other modules. Multidisciplinary analysis is carried out by linking modules to each other and running them iteratively as if they are a system of simultaneous equations. So what is done is different modules are linked to each other, but they may depend on each other. For example, solid may affect the fluid and the fluid may affect the solid. An example of this kind of interaction we shall take towards the end of this lecture. But there is an iteration involved. So modules are run as if the module is one of the term in simultaneous algebraic equations, system of simultaneous algebraic equations. Okay. So finally, the system is the math models get simulated through what is called as a design structure matrix, which shows how the modules or the components are linked with each other and how they produce the data. So this is typically shown by what is called as a design structure matrix. And design structure matrix in some analogy is like a flowchart in interdisciplinary analysis. So this is you can imagine what we are talking about. When you write an algorithm, we typically write a flowchart. The flowchart is the way you would like to do the calculations in a given executable or in a given algorithm or in a given program. What we are looking at is what is called a design structure matrix, where how the data flows from one module to another module and how the iteration happens module by module. That is how it is shown in a design structure matrix. It's a flowchart of higher level. Okay. In order to show the flowchart of different modules in a multidisciplinary analysis, as I told you, we have modules, and the typical module that a generic module, a typical module is shown in the way is shown in this slide. So it accepts the input in the vertical direction and it produces the output in a horizontal direction. So the input to the module in the current iteration will come from the top. I am going to show the diagram of how modules are connected to each other. So when I say what I mean by top, you will come to know in the next slide. But in the next iteration, the input to the module will come from the bottom. the output from the module or the solver, individual solver, a math model solver of one discipline will come out from the horizontal arrows. So output from the module will get generated the way it is shown here by the red arrow. So let us have a look at it. I think that would be easier. So let us take an example and see how it can be done. Arrangement of modules in a design structure matrix. So here in this example, let us say I have 5 variables using 5 equations. Equations are shown by a symbol S and the variables are shown by X. X1, X2, X3, X4, X5 are variables, while S1, S2, S3, S4, S5 are equations. The equations can be partial differential equations, they could be ordinary differential equations. It really doesn't matter what they are, but that is how they are. So S1, for example, is written down as S1 is a function of X1, X2, X3 equal to 0. So satisfying S1 requires 3 variables X1, X2, X3. Satisfying S2 requires X2, X5, etc. So there are 5 equations and 5 unknowns, and therefore the system is closed. Supposing I want to show this as some kind of design structure matrix, the way it will happen. Module 1, if you look on the right hand side of this slide, requires X1, X2 and X3, but it doesn't require X4 and X5. The place with the tick mark shows that what I just said just now. X1, X2, X3 are required in module 1. Similarly, X2 and X5 are required in module 2. And like that, module 3 requires X1, X3, X4 and X5. So this is how it is. So what I do is, I do these simulations, I will do the iterations where I'll solve S1 first, then S2 second, then S3 next, then S4, then X5. But when solving S1, I will have assumed the values of S4 and S5 and therefore they are not accurate. And like that I keep doing it and I keep doing the iterations. So the iterations start from module 1 and it gets over by the time I finish module 5. Then again I go to module 1 and then I again go to module 5 and like that I keep doing the iteration. So multidisciplinary analysis is successive iteration of S1, S2, S5 till some convergence is reached. So this is how design structure matrix involving modules are organized. Now how do what can be done beyond this? See, the same thing can be rewritten now in some other fashion. I can reorder the design structure matrix for efficient solution. It has S1, S2, S3, S4, S5. But here I shall first solve S2 and S4 together. That is what is shown on the slide. So if you look at it, the top left red box indicates that S2 and X2 and X5 can be solved for by running module S2 and S4 simultaneously. Now I know S2 and X2 and X5. If I know X2 and X5, I can solve for X4 by solving equation S5. And like that, if you do this, you will realize that instead of solving 5 equations simultaneously and iteratively, I am solving two equations one after the other simultaneously, 2 sets of equations one after the other, and 1 equation explicitly. So there are 3 steps. The whole thing is attempted now in 3 steps. Step number 1, coupled modules S2 and S4 for 2 unknowns X2 and X5. Step 2 is module 5, where X2 and X5 are known completely and X4 is required to be found, which is it's not coupled at all. While in step 3, module 1 and module 3 are attempted, but X2, X5 and X4 are already known. The only unknowns are X4 and X1 and X3. So this becomes a much easier problem and much easier method of solving, and computer time would be much less. Like that we keep doing it. Now design structure matrix can be shown in a totally different fashion. Let me just check how much the amount of time that's available to me. So design structure matrix can also be shown in some other fashion, and let us see how it is done. This slide number 21 shows inputs on the inputs on the first row, while the outputs are shown on the column which is on the left hand side. Driver 1 is supposed to be an iterator, which is basically telling you that you iterate S2 and S4 to produce the solution for which one is that X2 and X5. Okay, so I take the input which is the initial condition of X5 naught and X2 naught, iterate and produce the solution which is supposed to be X2 and X5. Now if I know X2 and X5, I don't need any iteration, solve equation S5 and get X4. Now I know X2, X5 and X4, iterate, that is what I mean by driver 2, and you get the solution which is supposed to be X3 and X1. So this is how it can be shown, and what is shown here in this slide is also shown on the left top corner. That is how I meant, the output from the module comes in the horizontal direction, while the inputs are in the vertical direction. Try to correlate these arrows and see if it makes sense. Now, having said this, let us try to use this methodology and see how analysis of parachute can be carried out. So let us talk about something which is engineering rather than algorithms and multidisciplinary analysis or something of that kind. What is the problem here? The analysis of parachute requires at least two math models. Model number 1 is a CFD algorithm or CFD code which is meant for aerodynamic analysis of the canopy. While you require math model 2, which is basically a FEM model, which is a finite element model for arriving at the shape of the canopy or the parachute if the pressure is applied to the parachute. Is this a coupled problem? Yes, it is a coupled problem. Why it is a coupled problem? CFD cannot be done as the canopy shape is not known a priori. Well, the shape of the parachute is not known because aerodynamic loads are not known immediately. They are not given as an input. So the shape depends on aerodynamic load, and aerodynamic load depends on the shape. Therefore, it's a coupled problem, and it's a multidisciplinary analysis involving two coupled models, two coupled codes, or two coupled modules, or the components. When this problem was solved, there were additional challenges. And what is that? Turbulence model for the porous wall in CFD. So let us see what this problem is, though this is not immediately related to the current topic that we are looking at, but it is still worth talking about. If you are writing a code of your own, some of these challenges will have to be faced by you. And what is this? Typically, if you are solving a CFD problem anywhere or any of the softwares, you get turbulence models which are on the solid wall, especially if the shear wall near the solid wall is being talked about. Then the turbulence model for the shear wall near the solid walls are available. But you will rarely have turbulence model for porous wall because the cloth of the parachute is usually porous. So you need to generate the turbulence models, and you will have to write down the equations of turbulence model for such a flow. This is part 1. Second, and that is as important, you will have FEM, which is what is called as infinitesimal displacement FEM. These equations are that you solve, they assume the infinitesimal displacements and infinitesimal strains. and therefore they are linear equations. And typically FEM is available, or many times you run FEM for the infinitesimal displacement or infinitesimal strength. But in a parachute, the displacements are fairly large, and therefore such FEM models cannot be immediately attempted on whatever software that you normally see in front of your screen, or you may not have an experience of running those softwares. Anyway, these challenges are taken, and you can produce the solution for producing the flow past the parachute and the shape of the parachute. There are features of the MDA tools, and what are the other features? There is a single confluence point where the payload is attached. What is done is, what is the boundary condition for the parachute? The, the parachute is held fixed at one place, which is called a confluence point. That is the place where the payload is attached. So that is held fixed, and that is the only boundary condition that is there, and it typically in FEM it's called a Dirichlet boundary condition. What is the feature of module which is supposed to be CFD module? It is a pressure based steady state RAN CFD module. What is the feature of the FEM? FEM is for deformation. It has the triangular elements for the canopy and 1D elements for the cables and the tapes. The weight of the parachute, however, was neglected. Now you do iterative simulations, iteration between the CFD and the FEM till the shape doesn't change or the CFD forces do not change anymore. It so happens we use what is called as artificial mass and damping to stabilize the system of equations. And this is what we call as the design structure matrix, shown in some other fashion. So there is a driver which actually is what is required to be written, or which is a part of the framework uh, which is required for automation of multidisciplinary analysis. Okay. So here the driver is the one which actually helps you iterate between FEM and CFD. So FEM and CFD are the disciplinary modules, while driver is the one which iterates between these two disciplinary modules. The thick gray lines, they show the way the data flows between various modules. For example, FEM will generate the shape of the canopy. So you can see that FEM produces the shape of the canopy is shown as the output of the FEM deformation. Okay. The drivers and iteration in what is called as extended design structure matrix is typically shown by the rectangle with the semicircular boundaries, while the solvers or the modules are written inside a box which is a rectangular box, and you can see that there is a green box which is FEM module, and there is a red box which is supposed to be for CFD module. The way these are connected is shown by what is called, that is shown by thin lines, thin black lines. So the way module 1 gets connected to driver is shown by the numbers 1. That black thin line is indicating the way the modules are connected, and I think like that it will have to be read. So this particular slide will require you to go through a book which I have written here, Short Course on Multidisciplinary Design Optimization by Martins. So this is freely available on the internet. You go through it. It's a fairly a huge volume. I think it's about 250 pages or close to 300 pages. It will let you know how to do multidisciplinary design optimization or multidisciplinary design analysis. If the modules or the components are available to you, how to link them, how to do the simulations, all that would be explained there. Anyway, so having done this, whatever that I said is being written here. Rectangular boxes on the diagonals are called are modules. Trapezoidal shaped boxes of the diagonals are used to label the input required or the output produced. Drivers are components controlling the iterations. They are shown by rounded rectangles. Gray thick lines show data flow. In the upper diagonal, the data flows from left to right and top to bottom. In the lower diagonal, the data flows from right to left and bottom to top. So I think you will have to read these slides to appreciate it. Thin black lines show the sequence of execution. The sequence follows the ascending numbers written close to the black lines. Okay, so this is the kind of output that you get. This was done where the solvers were not touched at all. The solvers existed the way they are. They were converted into modules, and modules were linked to each other through each, and they were driven by what is called a driver, which is basically an iterative execution of CFD and FEM solver. Okay, I think there is one more example, but I'm not sure what we should be doing. Akshay, shall we take some questions first, or
Yeah, sure.
because
I mean,
otherwise
actually, these
we
diagrams were also discussed by Dr. Priyadarshi, but in some other context. So,
okay.
so in that sense, I don't know. Maybe people candidates can relate to it.
Because the monotonic talk where I'm not able to even see a face of a single person can be really
Yeah.
demoralizing. Are there
So,
some questions? It can be any question, but let us have the questions.
okay. Yeah. So participants can unmute and ask if they want.
And this is the first day. We'll have to set up the tradition. Otherwise, it will happen that you will keep yourself aloof from what is happening in the internet. Ask whatever that comes to your mind.
So
Otherwise, it will be a monotonic talk where
of
nothing get exchanged between the speaker and the persons who are listening.
so a few names that I can remember. Miss Ulia Mitra did ask a few questions in the morning session. Nikhil, I think, asked a few.
Ca-
Harita was quite vocal in the morning sessions. I guess she's not now.
Harita,
Harish, I think. Harish, not Harita. Harish was.
Harish, Harish, can you speak?
Hello.
Hello, Harish.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir. Sir, right now I don't have any questions, sir. I'm waiting for the optimization technique which you have used. So I hope.
Optimization. There is no optimization here. This is multidisciplinary analysis only.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
Optimization will be coming after this.
No, yes, sir. Right now I don't have any questions related to this multidisciplinary.
But is it making some sense what I am talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, sir. Yeah. I could relate for some of the things which I'm right now I'm dealing with.
What is your organization?
Sir, Manipal, sir. MIT Manipal.
MIT Manipal. Okay. Who else is there? Because I will be taking the another example, next example, like example 2, which will be a repetition of what example 1 is. And I think we have time. So examples can be covered, but it's a good idea that if I know what you guys are appreciating, more of that can be said.
So generally, when Professor Chevre is around, he usually keeps one first session every day for interaction, which I didn't. But then there is this fourth
Good.
session. Yes, someone wants to ask.
Yes, sir. Bhavish here, sir. Uh, I am from mechanical engineering department, and one of my student who is pursuing his PhD on
Okay.
the topic of he belongs from the biomedical engineering,
Okay.
and at presently initial basis we have defined the title on the chronic respiratory disease diagnosis decision support system using the artificial intelligence.
Okay.
So recently we have faced the problems of the COVID-19, right, and many more diseases relevant to that respiratory systems, asthma, and all. So, can we couple this problem with the certain mechanical systems, or how we can say that this is the multidisciplinary, and in which way, sir?
Okay. See, first and foremost, let us repeat to a certain
Yes,
extent.
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Chronic chronic respiratory disease diagnosis,
Okay.
decision support system using artificial intelligence. So here the objectives are that the majority of the whenever we are going to the doctor, they are taking the decisions based on the reports, right?
Right.
They
Okay.
are conducting the different reports, even though the sometimes what happened, the many dates or the different that medicines suggested by the doctors due to some decisions not taken correctly, right,
Okay.
and ultimately suffered by the patient. So to avoid these things, we would like to develop the algorithm and all, by using the artificial intelligence systems to support the doctors to take the appropriate decision. So can we say that this is a multidisciplinary or
One thing
anything else,
is,
sir?
this is multidisciplinary. There is no doubt
Yes.
about it at all.
Yeah.
There's
Right,
no
sir.
doubt about it at all. But then, if you look at my first slide, let me go to that first slide again.
Yes, sir.
See, are we doing the following?
Yes, yes, sir.
See, is the problem that you are facing? It doesn't matter whether it belongs to biomedical or it belongs to mechanical or electrical.
Right, sir.
Are we talking about making a math model? You must
Yes,
come
sir.
up.
Yes.
You have to create a math model out of it.
So at present, sir, we are trying to contact to the different doctors. Those are
No,
associated
no,
with this field.
no. The doctors will
Yeah.
not be able to help you make a math model.
No,
Math
sir. For
model.
collections of the data and analysis.
Okay, we'll come to that. But what is a math
Yeah.
model? Math model means the following: what are my
Right, sir.
dependent variables, what are my independent variables, and whether they are related to each other through an algebraic equation, ordinary differential equations, through artificial
So,
intelligence. What is it?
so at presently, just he has completed the coursework, right, sir? So still we are not at this stage to define the variables and all. To define the dependent and independent variables, we have to collect the data first for
Yes,
the different patients,
but Professor,
and then
look at it this
after,
way. If
yeah.
you have to collect the data, you should know what data to collect, no?
Y- Yeah, sir. So at presently we have to collect the different kinds of the reports which are concerns with the disease, just
Are
like
they, are they
some,
images? Are they text files?
yes,
Are
sir.
they voices? They are
It
the
file
medical
and
report,
yes, sir. Medical reports in which it may be the text file, it may be the that X-rays and
X-rays.
different many more reports are there. But at presently, I am also uh, in Dynama because I am with the mechanical guys purely,
No, it
and
doesn't matter because here we are not looking at the mechanical or electrical. We are looking at
yes,
it as a more of a mathematician. We are talking about converting everything into some kind of math models, which are many in number, and how to connect
right.
them with each other.
So, sir, already I have seen the content of that, and that's why I have asked the questions. In futures, might be I need your help, sir, regarding this. When we will get the data, right? After this, defining the
One of the things that I suggest
dependent,
is if you take X-ray
right, sir?
and if those images are of the same size
Okay,
and are the same resolution,
okay, sir.
then artificial intelligence purely based on the images is a straightforward problem and it will be doable within the time that is reasonable.
Okay, sir.
Don't include the text or don't include the pathological reports into this as a input data. Just
So
the
can we
images.
club? Yeah. Yes, sir.
Just
Please,
the
please, sir.
images, just the images, the X-rays, possibly from the same lab, from the same size, same resolution,
Okay, sir.
and CNN, that is convoluted neural networks, could be the tool which can be utilized to produce, to diagnose the disease,
Okay,
especially
sir.
if it is chronic.
And
This
can we go through the fuzzy base or any other tools? So CNN and fuzzy club of
CNN permits you to use the images which are not very clear images. They're okay. Even if they are fuzzy, it is fine. It's not an issue. But you will require a data which is in hundreds. You will require hundreds of patients.
Yeah, we will collect more than that, sir. Definitely.
Anyway, so this was little exterior to what we wanted to do, but it is okay. At least somebody has started
Sure.
talking, and that is what is required. A dialogue is a must. Otherwise, you get sort of little demoralized. You do not know whom you are talking to and what is the mathematical background that the audience has, and it becomes very monotonic. Nothing much gets transpired. Okay, so is there anybody else who would like to speak? Have we understood the difference between executable and a module, or many times the module is called as a component? See, we are looking at something which is far beyond executable, or what we typically called as a software, which is an executable. It is not just a software. Software is wrapped by one more layer of, let's say, information processing, where boundary conditions become automatic, convergence becomes automatic, post processing becomes automatic, material properties get generated which are basically based on some Indian standard, or let's say ASME standard, or some such things. When I say aircraft is flying at 10 kilometers, atmospheric properties at 10 kilometers automatically get communicated. So there is a one more layer which is put on top of the solver to make it so generic that it gets connected to some other solver without we putting in any extra effort. Such a thing, such an executable is called as a module. So module is something which can be connected to each other without, by a person who has no background in the physics that goes into that module, or the expertise that goes into the simulation of that module. When such thing happens, I assemble the modules so that I am able to analyze the product, which is what my focus is, or the focus has. The user looks at the product. User doesn't look at, his focus is not the solver. He assembles as if it is a black box. He doesn't have to know anything like a numerical scheme that goes into the solver. He doesn't have to know that it's iterative solver, implicit solver, or explicit solver. So, can we assemble such modules? And when you assemble hundreds of such modules, a product gets built, which is a mathematical, or many times called a digital twin of that product. So whether it is an aircraft, whether it's a missile, whether it's a tank, or whether it is a oil rig or a spacecraft, there will be a mathematical model for those objects. So when I say I designed an aircraft, I will have a math model which will work, or which will satisfy my requirements in the first go. I don't have to do any experiments. It'll have to fly right on the first attempt as per my requirement, because mathematically it has been proved that this is how it works, this is how it should work. So anything that the physical object is supposed to do, or a physical operation is required to happen, mathematically it will have to be done through assembling of all the modules that go into defining this product or the operation. So that is what we are looking at, and this is the way to do it. And basically this entire thing happens through what is called as a design structure analysis, design structure matrix, sorry. So the slide which is now being shown, the slide number 30, is something which I would like you to be comfortable with. It tells you how to read what is called as a design structure matrix, which is how the modules are connected with each other. It tells you how the modules get assembled and how they produce what is called as a uh, digital twin of a product or a process. Okay, and as the computing power becomes cheaper and cheaper, and as it becomes more and more, and as the algorithms become easily accessible, this is bound to happen. This kind of thing will happen. And we are not looking at optimization. Don't be in a hurry to optimize the product. We are talking about analyzing a product. Given the product, what happens to its performance? That is all that we are looking at. We are not looking at how to change the variables of the product which define the product to optimize its performance. That we are not looking at, though the course is supposed to be taking care of this thing. Anyway, so let us go to the next one. This is little more complex, but it's worth looking at, and I think it will give you a flavor of what multidisciplinary analysis can do. So here we are looking at analyzing what is called as the electromagnetic gun, and this is a future requirement. The guns that we are used to, they use chemical powder or chemical propellant to propel a shell or a bullet. Okay, the difficulty is every time you fire a gun, the bullet or the shell comes out with the same velocity. Whether I want 10 kilometers range or whether I want 50 kilometers range, I don't have a control on the velocity at which the shell comes out. The angle at which you fire can possibly give you the range that you want. But many times you have unnecessarily wasted your propellant and you have made a more noise than what is required. So futuristic guns are supposed to be what are called electromagnetic guns. I use electric energy to propel the shell with whatever speed that I want. Can that be done? So in electromagnetic guns, the muzzle velocity of the projectile can be controlled from 100 meters per second to 1000 meters per second. That is the advantage. And then I will not have used more energy than what is required, and I will have not made more noise than what is required. Remember, if you make noise, the enemy knows your position and the purpose gets defeated. Anyway, having this as a background or having this as the motive for analyzing a electromagnetic gun, let us see how to go about doing the multidisciplinary analysis of the electromagnetic gun. So this multidisciplinary analysis involves, first of all, LRC circuit. It involves a circuit. Remember, it is not a FEM analysis. One of the module here is a circuit, which is not like a ODE, ordinary differential equation, or partial differential equation, or any equation. It is a circuit. It is a completely a different concept, but it's a module. Then it also requires a module which generates the electromagnetic solver, which is basically electromagnetic solver. Then it also requires a solver which is for transient heat conduction, because when so much of power goes through the conductor is going to get heated and it is going to conduct the heat. So the transient heat conduction solver is required. Now once the conductor is heated, it will also change the dimensions of the conductor, and if the dimensions are changed, it will generate the stresses. So you need a solver which is called a thermostructural solver, and all this changes the position of the shell or the bullet in the gun, and it will change the position as a function of time. So that is a 1D motion of an armature, and that is what we need as a solver, which is one of the modules. So here this is the schematics of the electromagnetic gun. So there are currents which are shown by green arrows. Red rails are the places through which the current flows. As the current flows, the magnetic field gets generated, which is shown by blue line, and because of Faraday's law, what is called as armature gets pushed in the direction which is shown by the green arrow, and the bullet, which is called a projectile in electromagnetic gun parlance or in electromagnetic gun technology, which is shown by a magenta color, gets pushed out. So this is what it is, and we are required to analyze this gun. Now I deliberately took this example because it's not a conventional example, but these are the kind of problems that you will be facing. Now look at the way things will happen. You require how many solvers? We require at least 5 solvers, and you are required to connect them together. So this is how typically we show what is called as a flow chart, or this is a typical flow chart that we are used to. So start, the user inputs, the meshing and all that is shown, and the solvers can be the multidisciplinary solver can be written down, but this doesn't indicate much as to what can be done or what can be solved. Why? Because just the electromagnetic solver itself is fairly complex, and that is what is shown here at that place. Now you don't need to worry too much about what is written on the slide, but what I want to tell you is that the solver details are not required. Though it is shown, it is to be treated as a black box. In terms of black box, in terms of those 5 solvers, this is how it is written down as a multidisciplinary analysis diagram for the railgun. So there are 4 boxes. Each box indicates a module or an independent executable wrapped around with the interfaces with the other solvers. First is the LRC circuit. Circuit itself is some kind of an algorithm. Though it is called a circuit, it is not to be mixed up with actual circuit. It is a mathematical model of the circuit, which is shown by the blue color, which is module 1. Then having done that, once the current starts flowing through the conductors, it produces magnetic field, and that is module 2, which is shown by the pink color. As the current flows through the conductors, I square R heat will get generated and the conductors will get heated. So that is shown as a thermal analysis module. This possibly could be available anywhere, and maybe the module would be commercially available, and we need to put a wrapper on it so that it gets connected to other solvers. Then there is a stress analysis solver. Once the temperature is known, if the temperature distribution inside the inside the conductor is known, then the dimensions of the conductors are going to change, and therefore the stresses will get generated in the conductor, and that is stress analysis solver. So these solvers are connected to each other, or these modules are connected to each other, as shown in this box, or as shown into this slide. And on the top left, there is one DOF, that is 1 degree of freedom in the cells. That is how the bullet gets fired from the muzzle of the railgun. So that is the 5th box. Remember, I don't need to do any iteration, in the sense, for various position of the bullet, I need to solve the electromagnetic circuit, I need to generate magnetic field, I need to generate the thermal, the heat that is generated inside the conductor, and the stresses get generated. So the position of the bullet becomes something like an iterator, and this is how the multidisciplinary analysis of a railgun works. We will not bother too much about what the symbols are, but if you can go through if you can read through the reference that is shown on this slide, you will be able to understand how this MDA is organized and how they get connected with each other. And remember, there is no optimization yet. It is only analysis. That is given the conductors, given the mass of the bullet, given the current that flows through, how the railgun, what is the velocity at which the bullet gets fired from the electromagnetic gun. Okay, so this is all done, and let us see the way it is happening. So you can see that if you do this, the conductors will have current only on their surface. The core of the conductor will have no current flowing through it. The current gets concentrated only on the core of the the electric conductor. So a single square copper conductor of size 10 millimeter by 10 millimeter by 100 millimeter was analyzed, and it gave the current which is supposed to be something like, it is not, the current is not shown, but rate at which the current changes is indicated as 10,000 rpm per second. Anyway, I think we'll come to the closure, and I think we will take the questions after the closure. The industrial problems are best solved as digital twin. So gone are the days where we make physical models and study industrial problems. Those things we don't do. We convert all industrial problems into some kind of math models, which are called as the digital twins. Digital twins of industrial problems and the procedures are posed as complex coupled math models. So how to solve the digital twins? Digital twins are coupled math models, and they are solved by multidisciplinary analysis strategy. In the MDA strategy, the modules are considered as black boxes, and if you use the MDA architecture, it is possible that there will be a reduction of data transfer and computer time, which will make it cheaper. Data flow and execution sequence in MDA simulation methodology is shown using a design structure matrix, which is what is called which is typically called as DSM. Analysis of two industrial problems, namely parachute and railgun, was illustrated through the design structure matrix of required math models. So this is what was shown as the examples. I think we have finished going through the slides. I'll take the questions, whatever they are.
In fact, the next session is about software installation. So if you want to interact with the candidates, as long as candidates are have no other engagement, that could also be conducted now. So we can have an extended discussion actually now.
Yeah, I think I wanted to finish it within the time and have some 15 minutes for discussion.
Yeah.
Are there any questions? Let it be wide any questions. It's easy. That would make the whole session lively. Otherwise, it will be monologue, which may not be palatable easily. Hello.
So it seems people are not interested in the theory of multi-disciplines, but they are directly interested in the optimization procedure.
I think so. Anyway, I think if there are no questions, we'll close the session.
Okay.
Okay.
Since there are no more questions, thank you, Professor Chevre, for joining us. Of course, we have more sessions coming up from you in the coming days.